want to start, Bob?
Call the meeting to order. We'll have a flag salute, and Mr. Houghton, will you lead us in the flag salute, please?
Please stand. Place your hand over your heart. Ready to begin.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Mr. Houghton. In the closed session, first item 3.1, compromise and release with a motion from Dan White, a second from Don Smolin, and a 5-0 vote to accept the recommendation. 3.2, compromise and release, closed session in accordance with the provisions. It was moved by Blau, seconded by White, with a 5-0 action to accept the recommendation. 3.3, it was a meet and close session, moved by Scott Blau, seconded by Dan White, with a 5-0 vote to accept the recommendation. 3.4, public employment matters. It was moved by White, seconded by Smolin, with a 5-0 vote. That, here it is, right there. Debbie Broberg with a 5-0 vote. We're going to hold off on these two. We're going to approve them now, but we're going to wait till they come because we tend to start earlier now than we're supposed to, so we don't want to hold anybody up. It's not their fault. 3.5 with a moved by Gibran, seconded by Blau with a 5-0 vote. Renee McGraw as the assistant principal at Valley View Middle School. And we'll hold off and let you give a 15 or 20 minute talk. 3.6, conference and negotiations, no action. 3.7, conference and negotiations, CSEA, no action. A conference with real estate negotiators, no action. And no action with 3.9. On the motion by Trustee Blau and second by Trustee Smolin. 5-0, board adjourned, closed session at 5:40. Yours. And now we'll open the session here and the approval of minutes.
Move approval.
Second. Agenda.
Approval of the agenda.
Move approval.
Right. Seconded.
Second.
Roll call.
Trustee Blau?
Aye.
Trustee Gibran?
Aye.
Trustee White?
Aye.
Clerk of the Board Smolin?
Aye.
President LaBelle?
Aye. Approval of minutes.
Move approval.
Moved-
Second.
Moved by
Blau, second by White. Trustee Blau?
Aye.
Trustee Gibran?
Aye.
Trustee White?
Aye.
Clerk of the Board Smolin?
Aye.
President LaBelle?
aye. Any public comments from the audience? We don't have any blue cards.
No blue cards.
No blue cards. Move on. Employee organization. I don't see Amanda here. Employee. I don't see Jim here. So, superintendent's communication.
All right, thanks everybody for being here. And I'll start by congratulating Renee, although we're going to do it formally in a minute, and to Debbie as well, who's not quite here yet. I do want to wish all of our students a safe and happy summer. I want to thank all of our employees for their contributions they made this year to make our students' experience with us the best it could have been. And I hope everybody has a restful summer and students remember to keep reading. I want to congratulate our board for another successful year of governance and thank them as well for their support of our district initiatives. The district recently received a ratings increase from Moody's. Our efforts over the past several years to earn several ratings increases will ultimately save the taxpayers of Simi Valley nearly $20 million over the life of our bonds. This is a pretty incredible turnaround from 2012 when we were downgraded multiple times. So I want to thank Mr. Toto and his staff and the board for their hard work to make this possible. And obviously, the powers that be in San Francisco at these rating agencies see the hard work that our district is putting in, and it's made a difference. The district has recently closed escrow on the second of the 3 parcels from our old district office, and we're still working with the last buyer to close escrow on the 3rd parcel. Last month, we had a talk show in to film at the district office. I think they filmed 18 episodes over 4 days. And we've recently hired a new studio manager to help us manage that side of our district office building. That has the potential to increase revenue for the district annually and can go right into the general fund. So I'm excited about that prospect as well. We look forward to having a lot of production shot in the facility. And once again, I want to congratulate all of our seniors. And I know that during this time of the year, we often talk about, tonight, in fact, there's a senior awards night at Santa Susana High School, all the students getting scholarships and awards, but I don't want us to forget all the students whose names won't be called during this time at those special awards who have earned their high school diplomas. So for all of the students graduating from our district, we're proud of all of you and wish you well on your future endeavors. And I just want to remind all of our seniors to be safe with your families after your graduations. Celebrate this milestone in a big way, but make sure we're doing it safely. So good luck to everybody. Thank you.
Thank you. And we'll go with the board. Trustee Smolin, then Blau, Gibran, and White in that order.
Thank you. Well, it's been a short time, I feel like, since our last meeting. And during that time, I was the chairperson for the HSA Awards, which recognizes volunteers throughout our community. I feel like it was a very positive event, and we got to honor a lot of great people, teachers and administrators who do a lot of great things that sometimes go unnoticed. Plenty of them weren't, recognized, plenty of people that do that work, but the ones that were, I want to congratulate them. I was involved in the senior walk that was put together by Jake Finch and staff. And, those kids all have different goals, very different goals. And, some of them are happy that they made it and didn't think that they'd be graduating from high school, and others are going to Ivy League schools and every place in between. So getting to hear their stories of how they got there and what their challenges were and what they like to eat for breakfast, asked by, many, and was really great in the way that they inspired the rest of our students, of our elementary students. It was really great. I know that we only got to get to a few schools, and I know that we're going to continue to branch out, and eventually we'll get to them all. And with graduation coming up, I personally have a senior, and it's watching her and her friends get to that point is really, really exciting and a little challenging for me. But I'm looking forward to it and all their adventures and where their futures take them. And I want to congratulate them and all of our teachers and staff that are retiring. Congratulations to you on that milestone as well.
Okay, Scott?
Thank you, President LaBelle. I just have a few quick items. Obviously, I want to add my congratulations to our graduates coming up this week and last week with Apollo. I just wanted to add that. Wish our students a happy and safe summer. And then I wanted to spend a little bit of time just thanking our educational staff, both here and at the school sites, for all their hard work this past year. Obviously, there's been a lot of progress and amazing things happening throughout the year. So just in the interest of brevity, I'll just reserve my remarks from there. So thank you so much.
All right, I was able to attend the HSA Awards as well. It was a great night. It was mind-boggling to see them, as many people that were receiving awards that give their volunteer hours to our students every day that make school at Simi Valley Unified very special. Was able to attend the senior walk, and at the senior walk there was a certain senior that had a very positive message to the elementary school students, and ended up on behalf of the Simi Valley Education Foundation, we're able to award him a scholarship and let the crowd know of his positive words and his message about you may set out on a path and it may not end up being the path that you wanted to take, but if you work hard and improve yourself, you'll eventually work your way to that place that you want to be. So that was a great evening. I got to spend with Dr. Salgado and Miss Maya. Looking forward to the graduations, attending a few, getting out there. Apollo, the Simi Institute, as well as Hillside and Simi Valley High School coming up here. Congratulations in advance. It's a great milestone in a young person's life, and there's a lot of people, it takes a village, as they say, to contribute to that, family and friends, and all the support of the teachers, staff, administrators all throughout the district. It's great to hear about the Moody's bond rating being improved. I think that's going to do great things for Measure X, and it's a testament to the work of the administration, the board previous to me even being a part of it, and looking forward to continuing that positive momentum. So last board meeting, I was actually able to, and privileged to read the resolution for the School Employees Week, which was 5/19 through 5/26. That was especially fitting because my mom, Valerie Gibran, was a district employee for about 20 years. She recently passed away. She was the ASB clerk at Hillside Middle School, which I didn't think was cool at the time because I was a Hillside student. But if I forgot my lunch money or something, she was always there to help me out. She spent a good number of those years in accounting functions at the district office, food services, fiscal services, student or ed services, to name a few, all the way to the bond. One of my first jobs was shredding paper in the summer at the district office. So we had a celebration of life. I got to see a lot of people that told me stories I hadn't heard of and had very positive things to say, and I really appreciate everybody who was able to attend. You know, my mom encouraged me to run for the school board. She was ecstatic when I actually was able to be honored to support the community like this. So in her memory, I will honor her legacy by supporting all of you in this room, doing the good work that you do to support our students, our teachers, our parents, all throughout this. So this has been a action-packed half year being on the board here. I look forward to the future, and happy Tuesday, everybody.
Trustee White.
Trustee Gibran, let me be the first to say our hearts are with you and your family. And also, congratulations, Renee. Congratulations to Debbie. Where are you? That's all I got.
Okay, very good. Okay, I was able to attend the PTSA Awards Night, the Homeless Task Force, the Valley View Portfolio Day, the Teacher of the Month presentation at Wood Ranch, the Senior Day activities with Jake Finch and her staff, the Knowles Elementary School for a program on immigration, which was great. They took us through Ellis Island and the entire night. All graduates, congratulations. Congratulations to all staff. And a special thank you to Ron Toto. And we got our balanced, and our budget was elevated in our worth per se. And so many things are done behind the scenes. And I think the district is fortunate to have an educator in that position. So he's been there, done that, and knows exactly what is expected and how to best look at spending our monies. So thank you for all your help. Also, the idea that he knows when the principals come in saying they've got X amount of kids, but he knows they really got the right amount. So it works both ways, but hats off to you for all your behind the scenes work. Okay, the next thing on the agenda, the consent agenda. Any items to be pulled?
Move approval.
Okay. Moved and seconded. Roll call vote.
Trustee Blau?
Aye.
Trustee Gibran?
Aye.
Trustee White?
Aye.
Clerk of the Board Smolin?
Aye.
President LaBelle?
Aye. Now we go to G, the action calendar. Board administration, none. Personnel services, this is a position, a new job description for the approval of a district elementary student assistant and support counselor job description. So this is a motion to get that rolling and put it into action.
Move approval.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Roll call vote.
Just as a note, we hope to have a person brought to the board on the 25th meeting. Correct, Dan?
This one hasn't been flown yet because we had to wait for it to be approved.
Okay, so,
We're going to try.
yeah. So this may be something that the board has to approve after the appointment, so, because we want them to start in August, so.
Yeah.
Trustee Blau?
Aye.
Trustee White?
Aye.
Trustee Gibran?
Aye.
Clerk of the Board Smolin?
Aye.
President LaBelle?
Aye. Action calendar, 3, educational services, none. Student support services, none. Business and facilities, none. H, information calendar. No action at this time, we'll just read. Board administration, none. Personnel services, none. Educational services,
We're going to stop right there because Debbie's here and Hani has a presentation, so that's a good break point.
good. So you're not going to present
There you go.
Right now.
right now.
Hi, Mrs. Broberg.
I'm going to go back
I gave it to Star.
and read. Okay. Public Employee Matters, 3.4. The Board of Education will meet in closed session in accordance with provisions in Government Code Section 54 and 957. Public Employee Matters, consider an appointment of a high school activities director, Debbie Broberg, at Royal High School. And it was unanimously moved and seconded. And now both of you get to talk to the staff. Tell us what you'd like to say. And we understand that we started early. You're not late. You're early. You're early, so don't worry about it. We held it and knew that was going to happen. So which one would like to go first?
Renee McGraw, the new assistant
Renee
principal
McGraw,
at Valley View Middle School.
Valley View Middle School.
Hi, good evening. I would just like to say thank you very much for giving me this opportunity to support and be a part of Valley View Middle School. I'm incredibly excited to be supporting the district in this capacity, and I'm just really looking forward to an amazing year. So thank you very much.
Congratulations.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Good evening. Trustee White, Clerk Smolin, hello. President LaBelle, Dr. Poplinski, Trustee Gibran, and Trustee Blau. I'm very thankful for this opportunity and humbled by the trust that's been placed in me. I'm so excited for the opportunity to serve the students, the staff, and the families of Royal High School. And if home is where the heart is, then it's appropriate for me to say that I'm happy to be going home. Thank you.
Congratulations.
Congratulations. Now, we'll move on. Thank you very much, both of you. We appreciate. Now, if you need to go home and take care of homework and whatnot, you're more than welcome to leave. Don't worry about it. We totally understand. And maybe you still have time to be taken out to dinner.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Now, 3.1, information regarding 2019-2020 LCFF budget overview for parents. Dr. Youssef.
While Hani is setting up, we should just make one other note there that Leighton Spracklin will also be the new TOSA on special assignment for categorical programs, and he's currently a teacher at Catherine Elementary.
$55 slides.
I'm sorry?
55 slides.
Almost. Good evening, everyone. Good evening, trustees. Good evening, Dr. Poplinski, district staff, anyone in the audience, and those who will eventually be watching at home. I understand we're not live tonight. So with that, the LCAP for 2019-2020, the recommendations being brought forward to you tonight. We'll also have a public hearing next Tuesday with this very LCAP that is being recommended to you. And on June 25th, you as the board trustees will take action as to whether or not to approve the LCAP that is being recommended to you. As you know, the LCAP has 8 state priorities that must be attached to every single goal that we have. And there are 5 goals. There is going to be a change to one of the goals that you'll see here shortly. But there are 2 new components to the LCAP this year. One is federally mandated and one is state mandated. And here are the 2. The LCAP now has a budget overview for parents. We call this a cheat sheet for parents. It'll be the first page that parents see, and it has all of the allocated funds that are allocated to the district, not just to the LCAP. So everything that we receive from federal funding to state funding is on one page, easy to read for all parents, and we call it the budget overview. First year that'll happen, and it does contain every penny that we receive and every penny that is budgeted for expense as well. The second new to the LCAP is on the right side, and that is the federal addendum. The federal addendum will contain all of the action plans and goals dedicated to title funding. So any federal funds that we receive related to socioeconomic disadvantaged students, English learners, professional development, and now safety money. As a matter of fact, the counselor that you just approved tonight for elementary, that is coming from Title IV money, safety money, and that money we'll have for the next 2 years. So we have to account for all federal funds, title spending that is, in the LCAP as well this year. The 5 goals that you see before you here, the first goal is very specific to college and career readiness for our students. The second goal is related to California academic standards. The third goal is the one that was changed. The third goal prior to tonight read, the Simi Valley Unified School District will provide comprehensive programs to meet the needs of students who are not meeting grade level standards. That's what was written the last few years. The recommendation being brought to you tonight is that the goal be specific to all students, whether they are below grade level standards, whether they are at grade level standards, or whether they are above grade level standards, and not just for those who are not meeting grade level standards. Goal 4 is very specific to parents, raising our level of communication and improving our level of communication with parents and increasing parent engagement. Goal 5 is very specific to students, creating a safe and engaging environment for students. So goals 1, 2, 4, and 5 will remain the same. Goal 3, we're recommending that it encompass all students. With that in mind, here's what I would like to do with all of you tonight to simplify the process. Only action items that were changed or are new to each of the 5 goals will be highlighted tonight. In addition, I would like to actually point out specific action items and not review every single one for the sake of efficiency for this evening. So here are some recommended changes to Goal 1. Goal 1 is college and career readiness. And what I would like to point out about Goal 1 is this, is when you open up the LCAP, the first 9 action items are very specific to career and technical education. There are very minor changes to career and technical education that were made, and nothing of major significance in our action items. Some of it was fiscal additions and to some of the spending sources that we have, and we are carrying over the CTEIG grant, and that's where most of CTE is going to be supported as we move forward into next year. If I can draw your attention to number 19. So Madera is one of our elementary schools that has a focus on civics learning. The civics learning piece at Madera will continue to be supported with a budget of $9,000. Madera has been going down this road the last 2 years, this being really the first full year of implementation, and the principal and that staff know that we'll continue to support them moving forward. In terms of changes, those were the only changes. The two new action items that you want to be aware of as board members in Goal 1 are this: special education students and educational technology, specifically instructional programs for them that are online programs. We are going to purchase cyber high credit recovery licenses that will help support our special needs students who are not passing courses to do so. So we have such a program for our gen ed students, but Cyber High will be very specific to students with disabilities. The other new to Goal 1 is going to be 1.3J. And as you know, we traveled, when I say we, Dr. Poplinski and I, along with Director Dr. Salgado, traveled to Kansas City to learn more about the Center for Advanced Professional Studies. And that Center for Advanced Professional Studies will support our high school students who also have an interest in partnering with the business community. What we've done is we've budgeted $20,000 so that our principals, along with Dr. Salgado, and I'm highlighting our high school principals, will travel this summer to Minneapolis, Minnesota to learn more about the Center for Advanced Professional Studies, along with others in the country who are currently implementing the same program in their districts. And that'll be essentially everybody from Arizona on to New Jersey and everybody in between. Well, if they're involved with the CAPS network, they'll be at this huddle, is what it's called. And that is going to be new to us as we explore the possibilities of bringing that exact program to Simi Valley next year and beyond. So those are only 2 new action items that I want to bring to your attention. The rest were just changes. In regards to changes made to Goal 2 being the support of California academic standards, what I'd like to bring to your attention is this. One minor change to 2.1A. So as you know, there are 3 staff development days that we've had in Simi Valley. And the only change that is happening there is the October date is going to be November 1st in fall of 2019. So still 3 full staff professional development days that are going to take place, August, and this one being in November, and then one in the spring. We are going to continue to sustain the science TOSA. Mr. John McCarter is completing his first year as our TOSA for science. This will be the very first year that we've had a science TOSA, and we're carrying that over as we roll into the pilot process for NGSS from elementary, middle, and high school. And I want to draw your attention specifically to action item number 6, 2.1F. The reason we are increasing that budget to $164,000 is that is our math action item related to professional development for teachers. Why the increase? The increase is because we are going to discontinue our purchasing of MobiMax. And we piloted another math program that was going to cost our district $200,000 for 3 years. So taking the $240,000 or so, what we decided to do is invest that money in our teachers and our administrators versus purchasing 2 additional math programs. So we've got all 18 elementary schools and the RTI math teachers at our 3 middle schools, teachers from all 18 elementary schools, 3 teachers and every principal will have the opportunity to attend the Joe Bowler Mathematical Mindset workshops in Stanford this fall. We right now called to reserve all the spaces for all 18 schools, 3 teachers from each school along with the principal, and the 3 middle school RTI teachers as well will be attending that conference, and that is why we have the increase of $164,000 there. And again, we've communicated to all of our schools the reason we're not continuing with MobiMax and the reason we're not going to engage or enter into a contract with Freckle is because we're investing the money in the teachers and hope that the training will be of benefit to instruction. The other piece that I wanted to bring to your attention in regards to a change is actually on the next page, and it's action item number 17. So I told you earlier in the presentation that Madera will have that $9,000 to support its focus. This was the second and last year that we were going to continue to financially support the Knowles PBL project-based learning as their focus. So we hired a consultant, a full-time consultant, to the tune of $18,000 last year. This year is $9,000, and next year in year 3, the school will sustain itself with its focus, and we will not hire a consultant for them.
So quick question, so that doesn't mean PBL is going away from those?
It does not mean that it's going away. It means that in year 3, the teachers will not have a consultant.
Understood.
Okay. And I want to make sure it's on this page before I move forward. Action item number 30. Action item number 30 is this. It's a minor change. As you know, with the addition of the science TOSA that took us to 6 full-time TOSAs, the action item last year read 5. So that's a minor change in that it went from 5 to 6 because we are carrying over the science TOSA position, and it needed to reflect that change in the LCAP. New to action item number 2 is going to be a recently negotiated piece with our unions. And here is what is happening. As many of you know, at the teacher's daily rate, we're going to offer 2 opportunities for every certificated staff member, and we're also offering an opportunity for every classified staff member to earn a salary as well at their daily rate. So what does that look like for certificated employees and classified employees? We added this to our LCAP because what we're doing in Ed Services right now is we're putting together a plan that will be shared with all of you. Actually, it was shared with all of you at the last board update that you received last week, and it's also going out in a newsletter tonight. If it hasn't already gone out. It went out? Okay, so that's already been shared as well. So every certificated employee will have an opportunity to attend 2 professional development opportunities, whether it's at their school site or at the Ed Services Training Center. With that, our intent is to support the Professional Learning Community Initiative that we recently instituted this year. We just completed year 1 of that network, and we're going into year 2. Year 2 is going to involve teachers from every single school site to attend the Professional Learning Community workshops with their principal. So more on that as all of our teachers become more proficient in professional learning communities, and all of our sites do so. Our first session with the teacher leaders that have been identified with their principals will take place in September. Goal 3, as I mentioned, Goal 3 itself, the language in Goal 3 itself has changed to include all students and not just those who are not meeting grade level standards. And the other change I'd like to bring to your attention actually is number 1 there. Number 1, as you know, all of our elementary schools have a dedicated RTI teacher to support ELA and math. This year was the first time we had our RTI teachers supporting math. There is a change, a very positive change that is also going to happen. Not only are we going to continue to employ 1 RTI teacher at each of our 18 elementary schools, we're going to increase their work year with us. We're going to start them earlier so that they can begin earlier with the students, identify those students who need the support earlier, work with them earlier. And we're going to also add additional time to their monthly opportunities to attend staff meetings with their staffs as we move forward with the PLC initiative. Adding the 9 days and adding the additional staff minutes throughout the year will increase that action item by $47,600.
Quick question.
Yes.
Is there any sort of limitation to ELA RTI because we've added math RTI in terms of students? Like we used to just do ELA RTI, especially in the elementary schools. Are you seeing that we're actually having reduced ELAs, which may actually impact our reading levels and so forth in the district?
No, what we've done is, and I actually have data that will be shared with you at a recent update, and it's actually in our LCAP. What we've done is we've had our RTI teachers focus on primarily 3 days of ELA and 2 days of math. What we're hoping, right, is as we move forward with the math initiative that I just talked about earlier regarding Joe Bowler at the elementary levels, that we'll see, potentially a difference in how we approach math instruction.
But in terms of qualification for ELA or RTI, are there higher thresholds to get into the RTI programs now?
Well, the benchmark that we're using, star reading, will indicate to our teachers which student may need RTI. So there is a reduction in the amount of RTI in ELA. That's only because we increased the amount of RTI in math that didn't exist.
Correct.
So.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. Action item number 6. Action item number 6, speaking of math, action item number 6, last summer was the first opportunity we had to offer the Summer Math Academy for our elementary students. That was only 5th and 6th grade. This summer, it's 4th, 5th, and 6th grade. And I believe we were already over 500 students, and 18 teachers will be participating in the Summer Math Academy. The other changes in Goal 3 that I'd like to bring to your attention that I think you'll be interested in learning more about is in Goal 10. In Goal 10, the other way that we are supporting some of our schools that are not title schools but meet title requirements is we are adding additional time with additional RTI for those schools. So there are schools that qualify and meet that 40% or more threshold, but are not identified as title schools. What we do with those schools is we give them an additional RTI time so that they have 1.5 times the RTI support that some of the other elementary schools do. Other changes that you would want to be aware of is this, a minor change in action item number 30. The minor change is this. We still are going to have JK/TK classes, of course. The difference here is we specified a number of schools. So I believe the number written in there was 8. And as you know, we started with 12 and wound up adding a 13th. And we now have just that generic language of we offer JK/TK classes at the elementary level. New to Goal 3. Some exciting things are happening here as we round out and wrap up our 18-19 academic year and move into 19-20. One of the very exciting things that's going to happen is this. We received a grant from the state, low performing students block grant, and what we're doing with that $1.5 million is we've identified the 10 schools that have the highest population of socioeconomically disadvantaged students, and they're going to receive an elementary teacher that will be targeting either the 4th, 5th, or 6th grade at those 10 elementary schools for the next 2 years. So for 19-20 and for 2021. That $1.5 million must be spent by June 30th of 2021. Also, in action item number 38 at Apollo High School, Apollo High School specifically is receiving $166,000 from the state as a part of the comprehensive support and improvement plan that they've developed because a number of their students were not meeting graduation requirements, and that money must be spent by June 30th of 2020. And I mentioned to you the professional learning community initiative that we have. That is now embedded in our LCAP, and that is action item number 39. And that $347,000 is because we are going to send, as I mentioned, all of our school teams to the PLC Institute, either in San Diego or in Phoenix, Arizona, and our 2 directors, Dr. Salgado and Mrs. Ellis, will accompany both of the teams that go in November to San Diego and in January to Phoenix. Hence the amount of $347,000. That also includes the entirety of the 6 workshops next year, along with all the subs that will be necessary to cover those workshops. Also new is typing agent, which isn't new to the district, but just new to the LCAP because we had that expenditure and we just neglected to put in typing agent over the last couple of years that we've had it. And we're going to explore the co-teaching model. Action item number 41. We'd like to see if we can maximize or increase the number of minutes that our special education students are spending in gen ed settings. In order to do that, we need to make sure that our general education teachers and our special education teachers are working together to support those students as they mainstream into the general ed population during instructional time. And the last new is number 42 that you see there, and that's just supporting our test site coordinators and reminding them that as students are absent, in particular special education students, that we reach out to them during state testing to have them make up exams as needed. Changes or additions to Goal 4, the parent goal. There weren't any new action items for Goal 4, supporting our parent community. There were a couple of changes, and again, very minor changes. We hosted an emergency workshop in the past, and we didn't do one this year. We just removed that action item completely from there. And there is going to be an increase to the website expenditures that we have as our schools and district office roll over the websites and update them. Goal 5, recommended changes to creating an engaging and safe environment for students. The changes that I'd like to bring to your attention are this. Action item number 6. Sorry, I want to make sure that my notes are accurate. Action item number 6, that is our social emotional learning initiative, the partnership that we had with Panorama Education. And that is going to continue in year 2 next year, where Panorama Education allows our students to have a voice in the social emotional learning levels that they're experiencing. And as you know, we're targeting 7 specific topics. We're going to keep those 7 specific topics that we are targeting. That include grit, growth mindset, student-teacher relationships, rigorous expectations, classroom effort. So we're going to keep those 7, and we're also going to increase the amount of time that Panorama Education works with our elementary schools. So our secondary schools, as the surveys are administered to students, will have an opportunity to work with Panorama Education to analyze that data and work on their action plans. Elementary will have a fall and a spring session. So after the first and last administration, elementary leadership teams will have an opportunity to meet with the Panorama Education once in the fall and once in the spring. And we're also very excited that Panorama Education has actually highlighted Simi Valley's efforts, and our implementation of social emotional learning has been a priority for them as they spread our plan out to others. They invited us to speak with them next week in Arizona so that we can share what we're doing in Simi Valley to other districts in Arizona. New in Goal 5 for our supporting students and creating engaging and safe environments. The elementary counselor that we just discussed with safety money. Title IV is the safety money that will be used to hire that individual. And the other new is number 32. We've provided transportation in the past for our homeless youth, our homeless students, and our foster youth as well. What we've done this year is we've partnered with American Logistics Company. They're a private company that provides private transportation for foster and homeless students. We've got students who live outside of the Simi boundaries, and we were providing public transportation for them by way of bus. It just wasn't effective, it wasn't efficient. We felt we could do better. And we found this company through the Ventura County Office of Education, and we're going to use them throughout 1920. We met with them, we contracted with them, and we're going to see if we could provide more efficient transportation for our most needy students. With that in mind, we are here tonight. Obviously, as I mentioned, the presentation to this board will also have a public hearing next Tuesday, followed by an opportunity for all of you to approve the LCAP in its current state on the 25th of June. Ron Toda and I are going tomorrow to the county office to meet with them to review our budget and review our plan. And there is potential between now and the 25th for us to make a change or two, and that'll be communicated to you as we all get to that point. And that is the end of our LCAP presentation.
Excellent.
Thank you, honey. Can we get a copy of your presentation?
Yes, is it not in the?
No. The link was like 386 pages.
Oh, it was the LCAP, it wasn't the presentation.
I just want the presentation.
Got it, you got it, no problem. Thank you.
One other quick question. I get requests sometimes in the community for more resources related to life math, meaning balancing a checkbook, going through those types of things. How does that fit into our framework of what we're doing with math? I'm just curious on that sort of demand I hear in the community versus what we're doing.
Well, that is very specific to individual teachers. Some do it on their own. It's really going to depend on what the curriculum dictates and what the standards dictate at that grade level. So we know that some teachers are doing it. Whether or not it fits within the standards is something else. So it doesn't actually, it's not written in the plan directly to answer your question.
Okay.
Okay, again, outstanding job behind the scenes, the things that make the district move. So thank you.
Thank you.
I also want to just thank Dr. Youssef. It's you heard the documents, 300+ pages, and he does a lot of that work in isolation. So thank you very much.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Now, moving to 3.2, first reading of the revised board policy, new administrative regulation 5131.2, bullying. Also, student support services, none. Business and facilities, first reading of the board policy administrative regulation 1330, use of the school facilities. And then we're going for consideration, discussion, of proposed item for future meetings. We're wrapping up the school year. This is our last one with students still in session. And let's see if we can remove some of these and see if we've come to finalize that we can move forward. The pending items right now, number 1.1, identification of the best practices on math timeline. That's probably one that we'd want to always have involved.
I'm okay. Actually, we got a lot of information right there on what the plan was. So I don't know if we should keep it on there as to highlight it, or we should take it off for a bit and then
Bring it back next year.
come back to it in terms of next steps. It's like, that's a substantial initiative you just outlined there, so
Okay.
I'm happy to take it off.
Let's take that one off then. 1.2, the data security. I know that there's been a lot done they've done an audit. They're bringing an audit in to take care of that. I'm sure that that's being updated as we go. Can we take that one off now?
I think maybe what we should do is when we get the results of the audit, then address maybe removing it, but we're.
Okay.
Well, I think there's two sides of that also. Wasn't there the desire for more of an FAQ for parents to understand about student data privacy? Although we have it, it's just a longer document. So I know that that was it's actually a two-sided thing there. So.
Do we want to leave that on then? Or is it ready to be removed?
I'd prefer to leave it on just a little longer.
Okay. 1.3, update unfiltered water systems. I do know that the last board update told us about every location was identified on campus and in the district. So do we want to?
We do. We have a wonderful timeline, and I'm excited about it.
So we're going to remove that one?
Absolutely.
Okay. 1.4, studio management. We have hired a studio manager, and like Dr. Polinsky said, we've already had some productions in there. So we're on a roll in that direction. What do you want to do with that?
I'm okay to take this off because I have another one to replace it. So
That's
it's
fair.
related.
Okay, 1.5, quality of Wi-Fi. I know Ron sent out an update collecting info from the secondary schools, and what's happened is, in many cases, the problems with the speed of the Chromebooks has to do with the student use of their phones on Snapchat, and they closed that down. And now that they went to Instagram, and they're ready to close that down. So as soon as they close down all the student telephone usage, non-academic, the speeds will be fine. So I think that that's in the process of being done, and we want to keep rolling in that direction, correct?
I'd like it to stay on
I'd
there
like
until.
to stay on there.
Yeah, until
Yeah.
we're looking at testing and those times when it's really impacted.
Okay.
Just as a side note, having children in another school district, they won't even think about putting their phones on their school's Wi-Fi because the reception is so poor. So in some ways, we built our system to a point where students want to be on it because
too
they
good.
get such great access. So they tell me I wouldn't even think about going on the school's network. So
One of the options that we have not obviously decided to do, but this is what Deborah's collecting information from the secondary sites, is what would happen if we just didn't allow any student phones on the network? Like, is there a need for a student to have a phone on the network? So we haven't come to an answer about that yet.
Is there a way of doing that?
Yes.
So we'll get information, and that might be a direction we go. Good. It's all yours,
Do
Deborah.
I had a question. Is there a perception of the Wi-Fi that is bad because
Yes.
because the students' cell phone service has been prioritized lower than Chromebooks? Has that happened yet? I mean,
Prioritize lower?
so it would be possible to prioritize the Chromebooks higher and leave a smaller segment for the phones, but if you did that, you could have a higher perception of
Yeah.
that it was bad. So if you
Yeah.
knocked it off altogether, then
Yeah, and that's what we're looking into. There are actually other districts around us right now exploring that exact option. Should they just not allow any student phones on their Wi-Fi?
So,
Yeah.
just a quick question on that. Don't certain teachers use actual student devices as part of their class?
Well, so we have Chromebooks in every classroom now, so there's really no reason a student can't get on access to a teacher shared doc or something. So what we're finding is it's really neat to walk into Phil's office when he is checking the network, and you see the top 5 things that are taking up bandwidth are all social media sites. And it's Snapchat, and as soon as they remove Snapchat, then it was Instagram, and there's new ones every single day.
I would say we should stay out of it at this level, but it's like you should block those social media sites.
Well, that's what we began doing, so.
Yeah, I mean, they don't come up that often.
The reason why we didn't turn off Instagram is because we had not consulted with teachers, and some teachers do use Instagram to communicate with classes. So that's why Deborah wanted to reach out to the secondary sites to collect information from the teachers before we just shut it off.
One of the items I think it's a software, it's like a quiz software. And it's easier to use from your phone than it probably would be from a Chromebook. I don't totally know, but I've seen kids in action where there's quiz questions, open-ended, and kids are answering how they want to. So I wouldn't want to limit that. I certainly would want to limit the other items, but I wouldn't want to limit a teacher's ability to teach their class.
I don't know that it would limit their ability. It would just make the students get the Chromebooks and use them, as opposed to the reaching in their pocket.
I'd like to know a little bit more about just do we have enough infrastructure there? Is it slow because the Wi-Fi is slow, the access points are slow? Is it slow because the internet is?
I think there are a number of issues of which, I try to kind of push that out. One was just kind of a perception that it was more than, there was a perception out there you could have 3 or 4 devices to every individual. Every single access point really only takes probably 50, maybe a max of 60 devices hooked up to it. And so there's that perception issue. There are issues when it comes to Chromebooks about people not having their Chromebooks updated. So, I mean, there's just all these different types of things that come into play when it looks at why are we having issues with our Wi-Fi. And then sometimes Google changes the rules or settings on us, and we have to discover that. But we're also finding at the same time of ways of figuring out where changes have been made, being able to go and look at, where were Chromebooks not updated that need to be taken care of. So there are things that we're learning in the process that should help us in the long term. In the near term, though, it's probably a better communication system as to where the issues happen to be. And it's also another issue happens to be rumor control, because we'll hear a whole wing is out and we find out it's one classroom and those types of things. But that gets out.
And some of the data points that we now have is a work order we put in about there's no connectivity in my classroom, and then you go in and the Chromebooks were not updated. So the Chromebooks get updated and there's not an issue. So we think there's a number of things that we can resolve that is going to drastically change. But these are all things that we're learning, frankly, as we encounter the problem, because we haven't had the devices or the network long enough for the issues to arise and then be solved. But I do think that it's a combination of the number of student phones on the Wi-Fi in combination with the Chromebooks not being updated in some cases. And I also think there might be an issue with not having enough access points. Because in certain wings of some of the high schools in particular, what's happening is that if one of the access points is out, all of the devices from the classrooms next door to it are connecting to that one access point, plus all the student phones and devices trying to get into that one access point. So it doesn't just slow down the one room, it slows down several rooms trying to connect to that one access point. So those are all things that we have to, we have to work through, but Phil is definitely, has the priority right now of things to try to that are going to, and as we do them, we're noticing it makes a difference right away. So we think it's very solvable.
In updating Chromebooks, what kind of process is that? I mean, if I update my phone, it says
very
downloaded. Is it something that can be done?
Sometimes it's a matter of actually a Chromebook has to be turned on and turned off and back on, and some teachers don't happen to do that. They may not be set up to take it. They're not in the correct location. They're not put in the back into the cart when the update occurs, those types of things. But once again, we're starting to be able to find out where are those Chromebooks that aren't getting updated. I mean, once again, it could be the website they're utilizing. It's almost like when our network guys go out, oftentimes they know what the issue is, and they get out there and find out it's a brand new issue. But I think we're slowly starting to take care of things. The other thing is that we are the heavy user in the county of technology. If you take a look, also I can go into Phil's office and see who's using the most amount of gigabytes in the county, and we are a heavy user. And we are looking at, is there something going on as far as what's being piped in compared to what we're paying, because we do see this, we hit a max point that's actually not what we're paying for. And so, I mean, there's all these other things we're trying to figure out. But I think we're going to make strides by, number one, getting phones. If we can get phones off, I think we'll see some strides. I've talked to our tech, our network, and he'll go in a classroom and he can see that there are 30 iPhones connected to that access point the first thing he does. And an iPhone's radio is much, much stronger than a Chromebook. A Chromebook's kind of moving back and forth between the access point like a slug, whereas the iPhone is just speedily making that connection, so our concurrent connections start getting muddled for the Chromebooks.
And it's actually possible for the district to allow staff phones to be on the Wi-Fi and not student phones, because it's a sign-in through your Google account.
I would like to just encourage, we have adequate budget available to fill for this. I mean, I think we should just we shouldn't, we might have to temporarily disable certain services, but we should just keep trying to get the capacity up, and we should research better testing when the students aren't there. So if there's load testing that we can do to really simulate that there is a population, so that in the summer when we think it's perfect,
We can test
really
it.
know.
So we want to keep this on the agenda.
I think it's something to continue to follow up. And another complication I'll throw at you is we could go through and financially upgrade all of our access points. The only problem is Google's is no dummy about that, is those new access points would most likely require a newer Chromebook to be able to, the radio issues would be going on there. So, I mean, there's some of those things that go on regarding their software upgrades and whatnot. So we're looking at that, and we're also looking at the life of Chromebooks, and we plan on, as we upgrade Chromebooks, we would upgrade our access points. And hopefully, into the future, our access points will even be able to hold more than the 50 now. And they do have those devices out there.
Yeah, I think it's good to be able to accommodate their phones too. I mean, it's not a long-term solution to disable them.
And I don't know what the process or protocol is, but a comment that we had at one of the leadership classes about Wi-Fi related was just being informed if there was an outage. I don't know if it hits more than a certain part of the school or whatnot, not to be left in the dark. And I think that could help with the rumor control portion that you'd mentioned in some way. So maybe if there's an internet outage and they're trying to get the message through their computer, it's going to be difficult, but just a thought.
What's our current feed from the district? We're still getting all of our internet through the county? Just one source?
As far as what goes out to the school sites, yes. So we actually have one now internal. We have another feed that actually would not shut down business operations should we have something happen like when we had the fires this year. So, but otherwise we do.
You do have another?
Yeah, we do, yeah.
Okay. Let's move on to 1.6, the Advocate of Health and Welfare. I know that Sean and Dan got together. You sent us some information, I know. Do we need to keep that?
We don't need to keep this. I got the information, and then Sean's going to come to a meeting in July as well, and so
Okay.
we'll see if we can push anything out of that.
Okay, so we can remove that one. Anything besides Mr. White that wants to
What about me?
add in? That's what I said, anybody but Mr. White who wants to add anything. Dan?
All right, so I wanted to put on there the reporting for revenues of sources that are not coming from the government. So that would be like studios. And so that we could have consistent reporting for outside fund, if we're receiving fees or revenues, I wanted to make sure that we're getting that.
So like where the gift that is in the agenda?
So that it's a regular report.
So, yeah, we, maybe, obviously.
Updates or?
Well, maybe
So-
Ron and Dan can talk about what would be included in that, like, you mentioned studios.
Yeah, I would say like public, something that would be information calendar, public, reported on the.
Yeah, but what items to include, I guess,
Right.
is what I'm.
So I'm just going to ask the frequency that you would like that reported.
Twice a year.
Okay, so it could be reported within the framework of our actual budgeting process.
It would be perfect if it was.
Okay, and it can be, yeah.
But maybe Ron, just reach out to Trustee White and find out what kinds of things we would include in that, besides the studios type thing.
Anything else, Dan?
No.
Took care of that one pretty quick. Okay,
I have
any
one.
new or proposed
I have
items?
one, I want to add, the past couple weeks, I've been meeting with park board officials, city council members, and there seems to be a lot of interest to have a tri-agency meeting. So I'd like to actually get that going and maybe figure out what agenda items we would like to talk about, or we would like to talk to other boards about. It seems like there's a lot of appetite for that. So I'd like to agendize that as a discussion.
Yeah, Bob and I met with the park board about a month ago, and the park board said they were going to initiate the meeting because the city has not been able to set one up. So the park board was going to take the lead on getting one going, so.
Yeah, the city's good. I've met with them most,
Yeah.
so there's definitely an interest.
So the park board is, our last meeting with them is the park board said they
Very
were going to
positive.
set up that meeting, so.
Yeah. They were going to take the ball and go with it. Okay, the next thing, any other announcements? June 11th, special board meeting and public hearing, the LCAP, the proposed budget, textbook adoption, district office. That's a 4 o'clock meeting. There'll be 3 public hearings that day. June 25th, a regular school board meeting right here at 5:30. And as it's been going, we're starting earlier than 6 as far as the open session, so those of you who have to get here, we'll almost make that a 5:45 open session. Before adjournment, I'd like to, Scott, you want to take the adjournment?
Sure, absolutely. I'd like to, obviously, thank you tonight for discussing your mom and so forth. I'd like to move to adjourn the meeting in the name of Valerie Gibran this evening.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Do we need a roll call, or all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Thank you.